A special good evening to everyone. NNPites! NNPites! St. George's Northeast! It is indeed a pleasure. Welcome our political leader, everybody. Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening as always. Welcome to our zonal meeting here in St. George's Northeast. It's always wonderful to see so many dedicated supporters gathered. And as we traverse the length and breadth of our country, we are often reminded of your commitment, passion, unity, and love for the new National Party. NNPites! Nice people. I say welcome. I now invite Ms. Kim Williams to open in prayer. Let's stand. Heavenly Father, we truly thank you for this day. We thank you for bringing us here to our zonal meeting. We are grateful for your blessings and your love and the strength you have given to us as a people. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lord, for everything. In Jesus' name, amen. Let us remain standing as Miss Rosemary Welsh sings the national anthem, followed by a party song. 2, 3. Hail, Grenada, land of ours, we pledge ourselves to thee. Heads, hearts, and hands in unity to reach our destiny, ever conscious of God, being proud of our heritage. May we with faith and courage aspire, build, advance as one people, one family. God bless our nation. Keep standing, our party song. 2, 3. Oh, you can count on me, working for my party. Faithful I will be. I will fight with all my might, working for the NNP. Count on me, working for my party. Faithful I will be. I will fight with all my might, working for the NNP. Such beautiful voices. 2 meetings before, I had promised you in St. Andrews Northeast that we'll be bringing you youths after youths after youths. Unlike some organization, we always deliver because we now have a youth here. I now invite Mr. Tarek Frank, the General Secretary of the NNP Youth Arm, to do his remarks.
NNP! NNP. Party leader, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Deputy political leader, Honorable Gregory Bowen. Honorable Nimrod Olivier, our constituency lead in St. George Northeast. Honorable Peter David, parliamentary representative for the tongue of St. George. To Grenada, Carriacou, and Piti Matnik, I say good night to everyone. Today, we gather not just as members of a political organization, but as a united family, a family united by a common vision for the future. As we embark on this important gathering, I want to extend a special invitation to the youth present here and those viewing on the social media platform. You are the heartbeat of the new National Party, the driving force behind change, and the architects of tomorrow. Your energy, creativity, passion are vital to our movement. We need your voices, we need your ideas, we need your courage to shape the future of our party and our country. The youth of St. George Northeast can testify of the great work done to assist and help the young people in our constituency when our government was in office. We had projects like Project Fly, Project Reach, Imani, Empower. I am also reminded of the rich history of our party, a history that's not just a testament of past achievements, but a beacon guiding us towards a bright future. Let us support our constituency lead, Mr. Nimrod Olivier. Let us organize our PD groups. Let us organize various groups within our constituency. And most importantly, let's organize the youth arm of St. George Northeast. There is no if, but, or maybe about us winning the next election. We shall win the next election, but we must win if we do the political work. We know the current government plans and programs are not to strengthen the economy, but to play volleyball. The new National Party will empower the present and ignite the future. We celebrate 40 years as a political institution, and we must be proud to support our party. We must be proud of our party's achievement. I say to everyone, stand and take a bow. We are moving on, and nobody could stop us now. Let us bet on our future, let us rescue Grenada, and let us do what we have to do to support the new National Party always. Thanks, and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. We have a packed program, so we're getting right into it. He has a voice. I heard he has a voice as smooth as his negotiation skills. I heard this individual can make even the driest topics sound interesting. He's diplomatic and charming. And I heard through the grapevine that he is the kind of person who could sell snow to a polar bear. Brothers and sisters, welcome the Honorable Peter David.
My dear sister, I really would love to have all that skill, but if you say so, I'm going to try. I'm going to try some negotiations. Brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure to be here. Political leader, Dr. Mitchell, Deputy Political Leader, my brother Gregory, my brother Nimrod, and the chair. It's a pleasure to be in Northeast. I am happy to see what is happening within the NNP. I believe that, and I have no doubt in my mind, that the next election is ours if we do what we have to do. And what you're doing here is what we have to do. Now, I won't be long because I understand my brother Gregory, a man was telling me last night he was talking about oil and gas and he brought everybody to school. So I didn't hear it, so I plan to sit tonight and take some education from my brother Gregory. But, brothers and sisters, I just want to speak on a couple of issues. One of them, brothers, is that we need, as a party, to ensure that we build our organization. Because you know you could have more people who support you and you still lose the election. You could have plenty more people who support you, but because you didn't organize them, you lose the election. I am still convinced that had we organized properly, the last election would have been ours. But that is history. And I think God gave us that to teach us a lesson. So now, let us look forward. I know people are still crying and lamenting. No. We lost the elections, and now it's time. It's just around the corner again. Look at it. 3 years in a couple of months. So now, we begin organization. So here's what I start by telling you. What I said in Busheju the last time I was up there. Where are your children? Where are your children? Nobody answered me. They're not here. You have to begin organization in your home. If we do not bring the young people, then we will not win the next general election. And where are the young people? In your homes. Don't treat the young people as if they're out there. No, they're in your house, but you have to bring them. I was telling somebody in the last election, when we did the canvas, we say, see that house up there? But that's our NNP house. But we didn't realize only mommy and daddy was NNP. The rest are kids. While they were not supporting NDC or solidly with NDC, we did not make sure that they came out and vote for the NNP. So I begin by talking about the need for organization. Don't take anything for granted. You hear sometimes they say the noise in the market is not the sale. Don't let us get caught up with the noise. Get yourself organized in your constituencies, your constituency branches, your polling division groups, and my brother Dwight is not here. I'm sure he's on the way. But he's going to talk to you about the need to canvass the list properly. So that is the first thing I want to talk about. I also want to talk about what I am observing. I am observing something I have in my head of the arrogance of power. I believe that in our country, there is a creeping arrogance of those in office. So, for example, there's a project they have, the hospital project. Now, I don't know the details. And you know why we don't know the details? Because they believe we don't need to know the details. We need to demand of our government the details of what is taking place. And I want to warn them. You know, Grenadian people funny, you know. They with you one day and tomorrow you treat them in a kind of way. That is it. And I see even their own supporters are saying to them, don't develop that arrogance because you will end up losing power. But that arrogance is like a runaway train. It can't stop. So I want to say to the government, treat our people with respect. The details of all the deals, we must know. And I know they'll come back and say, when all you do this and when all you do that. Well, you are in power now. You have power. You have to do what you said you were going to do. We hear about transformation. In fact, you know, I was thinking of two things the other day. One is the debushing. They give debushing licks. Licks. But you see debushing going on now? They ain't say they're stopping debushing. The same project debushing that we had, because we understand how it impacted on working people. They have it after criticizing it for years. The second thing is the CBI. The CBI, what they call selling passport. They accused Dr. Mitchell up and down the road. They accused the government of selling passport. Now I am hearing them say how much billion they're getting because of how much passport they sell. That is the height of hypocrisy. The fact is that the NNP government developed the CBI program because they saw it as a program that can raise millions of dollars and resources for the country. The NNP government ensured that in delivery of this program, there was maximum security. In fact, as I traveled the world and spoke about CBI, one thing I said to people, and two things I said. One is the value of the Grenada passport, meaning that being a Grenadian citizen is something people should want to because of the value that we have as a people. The second thing is we did not compromise on security. We ensured that everybody who became a citizen was absolutely checked to make sure they were solid. So we make sure we have a good program. And all the money you hear they're talking about, where you believe that money came from, the program has developed by the NNP. And they must give us credit for that. They like to give us licks for things that we didn't do right. Wrong. We did wrong. Give us praise for what was done right. When you're talking about the billions you have, say you have it thanks to the program and policies of the new National Party. Give credit where credit is due. And the last thing I want to talk about is transformation. I said and I say all the time, transformation is not a word. It is something you do. What has happened over the last 3 years to indicate transformation? We hear talk about hospital. Well, they were going to build a new one. Now they want to staturize, how you call the word? The present one. What about the new one? Is it going to be built next year, the year after? The point I'm making is simple, brothers and sisters. When you have a transformation program, you should come to the people and say to the people, in healthcare, this is what we're going to be doing over the next 5 years. None of that. Simply whooping with all kinds of programs that nobody understands what is taking place. The hospital is deteriorating. Anybody who goes to the hospital, I've been hearing complaints. I'm not suggesting that things were running perfectly before, but certainly things have deteriorated substantially over the last 2 years, and everybody knows that. And the last thing I want to say is this about arrogance of power, because I know there are some heavy hitters behind me. Brothers and sisters, it is the unwillingness of this government to listen. We have offered advice every time we go to Parliament. Dr. Mitchell will tell you that. I have reached out. I have said to them, gentlemen, ladies, you in power already. You don't have to act like you're looking for power. We are offering the experience we've had over decades of being in government. Despite what they may say, one thing they can never argue is that when the NNP in government, things does run better. We said it in the campaign and we say it now again. Even people in the NDC, they tell you, watch, one thing, when Doc and them in power, something does run. You hear it every time. Every time. They mightn't like me, they mightn't like Doc, but they like the fact that we deliver. They love the fact that the money hits the streets. That working people receive resources when the NNP is in office. That is a fact. So, brothers and sisters, we said to the NDC, please, this is how you should do this. Look, the crime bill recently, and I'll end on the issue of crime. We told them that they need to tweak the crime bill. We told them that the problem with crime is not the availability of guns. That is an issue, but that is not the only issue. The main issue in crime is the alienation of young people. I deal with them every day, brothers and sisters. I'm sure many of you see me around the court all the time. I deal with them every day. And the fact is that young people need programs to get them going. Young people need programs. Young people need to have a sense that they can achieve something. I see mothers, and mothers, I know there are some fathers who come, but mostly mothers. I see mothers working hard out there, trying to take care of the kids. But the kids, when they go to school, they meet other kids who sometimes are alienated, give trouble, and they get carried away down the road. We must never give up on our young people. We must never believe that the solution to young people's problems is send them to jail. Because let me tell you this, and we know this in the courts, the jail has become an institution of learning how to do crime. So the jail should be the last alternative to protect society from criminals. But the fact is that a lot of these programs have disappeared. A lot of these programs that the NNP embarked upon, Empower and so on, they are not being treated as serious anymore. So the government goes to the parliament and passes a bill to lock up people for guns and believe that they're solving the problem of crime. that has not done a single thing to dent the rise in crime in this society. I see it every day because I am out there on the front lines of this. I urge the government, I urge all those who are in charge of programs in the government, please, come to the court. I told them in Parliament and I'll tell them tonight again, come to the Parliament. Not the Parliament, come to the courts. Come to the courts on the day we have the juvenile cases with 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds and see the problem we have. And see how hard we as lawyers, magistrates, judges are trying to find things to correct the problem we have. But we don't have programs to send them to. We don't have counseling programs to send them to. We don't have alternative programs to train them. And that is the responsibility of our government. We as a community have to do our part. We as parents have to do our part. But the government has to do its part to take care of our youth. And that is sadly lacking in our society. So brothers and sisters, I've spoken enough. I want to listen myself to what some of the speakers have to say, but I go back to the original point. We can make as much noise as we want and clap and sing. If we don't organize, we ain't getting in government. So go back to your constituencies, go back on the ground, talk to people, organize your groups, organize yourself, because I am certain that where we are today, all we have to do is set the field properly, and we're going to catch that ball and win the next general election. Thank you. May God bless you.
Move it. Yes, we move it. Move it. NNP, we move it.
Brother Peter, give Jack his jacket and go through her blows. I tell you, brothers and sisters, the NNP is the real MVPs in the political sphere of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And we are the party for the youths. The next speaker, he has a story for every occasion. Whether he is recounting tales from the community or discussing policy, he delivers it with his unmistakable mix of wisdom and warmth. He is fierce, but he holds the people of his constituency dear to his heart. He is the best and the only man for his constituency. St. George's Northeast. St. George's Northeast. Welcome your constituency leader.
Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. Old people did say, back long time ago, if something can break, don't fix it, leave it so.
St. George Northeast. For a minute there, I thought she was introducing Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Pleasant good night to our political leader, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Honorable Peter David, Senator Horsford, I will say honorable still, Honorable Gregory Bowen, because after last night, we know who the real MVP is. Sister Chair, and most of all, to each and every one of you that's sitting here in the audience and listening to us online. Brothers and sisters of St. George Northeast and surrounding areas, thank you very much for being here today. I stand before you as someone who sees the struggles that each and every one of you face on a daily basis. I feel your frustration. I understand what stresses you and what you have to go through on a daily basis. My God, you deserve a break. We deserve a break. We deserve some peace and some time without any role. My brothers and sisters, you have been very patient. You have been strong. and very resilient. You faced many challenges, many of which no community should have to face, given the fact that this administration came in and met a pregnant treasury. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that's been happening in this constituency. Let's talk about what has been stripped from us. For as long as months now, years now, and infrastructure has been neglected. The many projects that once provided hope and promise has been shut down and sidelined. We take the road in Willis. That road has been all over social media. How it affecting the lives of the residents there. And to date, that road is still incomplete. You know what? The time is coming when we have to let this government know that that is unacceptable. When projects like these are stopped, it's not just about the road. It's about your livelihood. It's about our livelihood. Because people lose jobs. And when you lose jobs, you cannot provide for your family. It's about our children going to bed hungry. Things so hard now that you can't even get some bush to make some bush tea. We have struggling mothers and fathers wondering how they're going to provide the next meals for their children, for their kids. And this administration seems like they don't care. Sometimes, and we're starting to see it, some of us have to abandon our morals just to survive, just to put food on the table. That shouldn't be. It doesn't stop there. I believe Brother Peter spoke a little about it. They destroyed the debushing program. We know they said the worst thing about us when it came to the debushing. But the NNP had it right, because that debushing money didn't make its way to Miami to buy Gucci slippers. It circulated right in the constituency. That debushing program gave us a chance. It gave us a chance to contribute and to stand tall and feel proud that we were working and making money to feed our family. We must know it didn't matter if you were NNP or NDC. Everyone got a fortnight under the NNP administration. Right now, they have even politicized the debushing. So if they suspect, well, I won't even say suspect. If they see you talking to somebody that they know is an NNP, then they label you an NNP and you ain't getting no debushing. That is wrong. Let's talk a little bit about agriculture. That's the heart and soul of St. George Northeast, mainly Willis. After Hurricane Beryl, our farmers, the ones who have tilled this soil to feed our families and carried these communities for generations going back, were left with nothing. No survey, no subsidy, not a single hand was stretched out to assist our farmers in this constituency. They handed out a few checks, they say, when the rain started. And we know when rain starts, what does happen, right? But I ain't even sure if anyone in this constituency got any of that money that they so-called handed out. What happens when we can't produce? It affects national security because our food security is now affected. And so we would have to import more and pay higher prices. I'm sure we have experienced it because everyone in here look strong and healthy as me and young and beautiful. So I know we fig, we blogo, and we breadfruit. Who in here ever taught you that live to see where breadfruit costs $15 for one? 6 grain of fig, they say that is a hand, $20. But I no longer fig, I Mr. Fig, Mrs. Blogo, and King Plantain. All this administration has done so far is left up with empty land and promises that are unfilled. We have a representative that was elected in this constituency. Well, we go see. But a simple thing, as easy as constructing a bus stop, he could not even achieve for the residents in St. George Northeast. And when that bus stop saga was all over and lawsuits flying here, there, and he had to back down, he went on social media and promised another bus stop 200 feet up the road in Lamo Junction. And up to now, the folks still have to stand in the hot sun or the rain to get public transportation because so far, zero delivery and bus stops. But I tell you what, for those of us that traverse this road, one of the first things that he got completed, someone said it, the road to his house. So that speaks of the selfishness of this administration and the members of this administration. Because he doesn't care about you and I, but he makes sure that the highway to his home is well paved and taken care of. That is wrong. Because the monies that are used, whether it's for the bus stop or a private road to his house, is you and I tax-paying money. And if the money belongs to you and I, then you and I should get first priority. We waiting for roads and everything to be fixed. But after Beryl, what did we see? The MP in Carriacou. Carriacou have a whole minister for itself. Well, let me rephrase. The people of Carriacou elected someone to take care of their affairs. But yet the MP for our constituency thought it fit. While there were persons affected in this constituency, thought it fit to be up and down in Carriacou, doing what only God knows. Because all we see, I never see a bunch of men that like to pose sofa picture. But that is a whole different story. So that says that he's not communicating with you and I. Not listening to the voices that put him there. because they are focused on taking care of themselves and making sure that they're good. But as Brother Peter say, do the work so that when that election call, we will hold him accountable. To the young men on the block, the new National Party, again, wants to speak to you directly and tell you all is not lost. Do not lose hope. The new National Party would be back to govern this country. And we will ensure that you, the youths, are taken care of. Because in our twilight, we want to make sure that we are taken care of on this little rock called Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. The youths are our future, and we owe it to them. They are being neglected now by this administration, who, by the way, campaign on advocating for the youth. And they got into power, and within a couple of weeks, forget that there were even youths in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. All the youth programs that were once up and running has been shelved. So I understand your frustration, but stay strong. The rescue mission has begun. For those of us, and I have to say it this way because I know some of us can't afford. But for those of us that do go to the grocery, we see readily where the cost of living is. And we know what $100, $150 could have given us. Prior to June 23rd, 2022, you need about $450 to buy that same basket of goods right now. Our farmers who depended on the land to survive faced destruction after the hurricane. Like I said previously, no one stretched out a hand to help them. But yet, they want to tell us that is support. If you don't help me, you don't assist me. How is that support? You met pregnant treasury. You say you sell $1 billion in passport. The new National Party, under the leadership of Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, insured Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And this NDC administration, within 2 weeks of the hurricane, got 118 million EC dollars. And to date, they can't show us one house that they built back. They can't show us one piece of land with one farmer that they help recultivate his land. And it's almost now when you say anything, it's like they want to tell us, shut up. What money you talking about? So we want to know where that $118 million disappeared to. We will hold them accountable. I want to say a little thing to our law enforcement officers. Brother Peter touched on it, speaking of the crime and the escalation of crime. And he looked at it from, the lawyer standpoint as it affects society. I want to speak to our police officers directly and to tell them that the new National Party empathizes with them for the lack of leadership within the Royal Grenada Police Force. And I make absolutely no apologies because the higher echelon of the Royal Grenada Police Force is incompetent. And it has a direct and adverse effect on the rank and file in the Royal Grenada Police Force. So I want to tell our police officers, you had somebody that came and made all kind of promise to you, that knew absolutely nothing about policing, that knew absolutely anything about managing people and supervising people. But I stand here before you today. Most of you here probably know a police officer or have family that are police officers. Let them know that when, not if, when the new National Party return to governing, we will ensure that they have proper leadership in that force. We will take the politics out of the force and ensure that promotions is done on a merit, not by what color jersey or what party you support. That is a promise, and I don't promise what I don't keep. The security of our nation is in shambles. There's no other way to put it. But who sees it? Those in power, well, maybe they see it, but they don't care. But who also sees it? All right. See, we got a very smart audience here. Yes, you and I see it. You and I that live in the constituencies, we see it. And if we see a demoralized force, are we going to care? Are we going to have respect? So the young men that are going out there and purchasing guns and deciding to settle matters on their own by committing crimes, that's because they have no respect for the police, because the police themselves, there's no respect from the higher echelon to the lower guys. It's visible. I see it. And that would solve, the bigger guns would solve absolutely nothing. Let me tell you, you know what some of the higher echelon is doing? So Nimrod Olivier is a police officer. And Honorable Modest post something on Facebook. And I go on the post and I like it. And within an hour, I'm getting a call from headquarters about that. Are we serious? This is a fact. And I challenge any one of them to tell me what I'm saying is not true. It's a fact. That's to show you how low we are in this country. That we have rights and we have freedoms. And we should be free to choose who we like, what we like, when we like it. And we don't need Big Brother telling us about we liking a post on social media. That's a police force. I spent 23 years in two of the biggest organizations in the United States of America. The military and RGPF. NYPD. NYPD, 45,000 persons. 45,000 persons, which is just a little less than half the size of Grenada. And you could be standing in Times Square, texting somebody, and I could have been in my office and reading what you were texting to that person. So I'm giving you that example to say, if we wanted to monitor what the police officers was doing, we could, right? First of all, every NYPD cop, the city gave them a cell phone, an iPhone at that, right? So you can monitor. But never have I heard any supervisor, and I was a supervisor, so I never had to do it, calling up a cop and say, oh, you was on Facebook and you liked this post, and ridiculous. But that's where our resources going. So while crime is going up, they're busy monitoring cops that they feel is aligned to the new national party. When we return to governing this country, all of that would stop. In closing, this community is strong and deserves strong, capable leadership. The new national party is committed to bringing real, lasting change. Brothers and sisters, let us all rise together. Let's reclaim our community and let's take back our future. Brothers and sisters, permit me to say this. As Brother Peter says, see, Pedro, I tell you I would piggyback, right? As Brother Peter says, we have to stay vigilant. We have to remain vigilant. Just last week, we saw a clip making the rounds where our Prime Minister basically stood and told the nation, us, the people of Grenada, that he is bigger than the state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. I don't know how you feel about it, but that is fundamentally wrong. Because before the Prime Minister came to office, we had a lot that went before him that put Grenada on the world map. Let's take a look here. Each and every one here has a history of the sacrifices that they make, all in the name of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Brother Peter was a lawyer in New York City in the 1990s. The most crime-ridden time. And he was a lawyer in New York City. And everybody in New York knew he was the Grenadian lawyer. Brother Dwight, well, he did his thing up until recently, representing Grenada in another island. And his home was like the embassy on that island. So everybody knew he was Grenadian. Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. The Right Mitchell. The Dean of Mathematics in Howard University, one of the most prestigious universities in the United States. And he could tell you, I travel quite over, and just about everywhere I go, people know him. When was it? When was election? 2022? I think in 2023, I finally decided to go get a visa to go back to the United States. So like for 2 years, I couldn't even go back to the States because, as you know, I gave up my citizenship. And when I came out from the embassy, there was a lady walking in the street. And I wanted to get something to eat. You know, you just had to leave the passport thing and then whatever. And I stopped her and she said, "Where you from?" I say, "Grenada." She said, "You know Keith Mitchell?" I called him right there and there. I didn't even answer her. I called him. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning. And I put her on the phone. And yet the young Mitchell talking about when he go to Africa, they don't know about Grenada. They know. Brother Gregory Bowen, qualified engineer that did work. And for those of us that heard him last night, we know that people like is Greenberg and Grenberg and all of them know who Gregory Bowen and knew who Grenada was. So when he sits there or stands or whatever it was and say he's the biggest seller of Grenada, I had news for him. He's a latecomer. Because a lot of us had toiled and put Grenada on the map even before he think about getting involved in politics. Like I said, my organization was 45,000. And he knows the hundreds of cops that came to Grenada to visit. How did they come? Because I was very proud to say I'm Grenadian. I lived in America for 32 years and my accent never changed because I'm a born Grenadian and very proud to be Grenadian. And whatever each and every one of us do for this island is not for our individual accolades, but it's for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Brothers and sisters, I said all of that to simply say this one conclusion. Prior to that, they want to tell us when we could dance, when we could play music. Brothers and sisters, this is serious. Dictatorship and tyranny starts with taking away the small freedoms one by one by one. And before we know it, we live in with a dictator. So I implore each and every one of you, stay woke. Stay abreast of what's happening. Make sure you go to the communities. Check the voters list. Register the young ones that are coming up so that when the NDC administration announce election, we are ready to vote them out and take back governance of our country. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Are you ready? Move it. Yes, we move it. Move it. NNP, we move it. Move it. Yes, we move it. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Well, Brother Oliver, well, you well took over my work. You're introducing everybody up here. But it's funny that he mentioned his introduction because someone had asked me, why do you introduce them like that? And my answer is this, well, why not? Our constituency leads and MPs deserves their recognition for all the things that they have done for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. They have implemented programs for our youths. They stood up for the poor and vulnerable, and they respected our democratic rights. So I tell you that NNP is the only party to lead and rescue Grenada. Our next speaker He is known for his analytical mind and sharp wit, and has a reputation for always being 3 steps ahead, even if everyone else is still looking for a map. He is a reputable lawyer and an outstanding individual. Brothers and sisters, welcome Brother Dwight Hosford.
Stop. Old people they say, back long time ago, if something can break, don't fix it, leave it so. And up to this day, this I still maintain. This is why I say, Nazim never again. Everybody know.
Thank you very much, Sister Japal. And I want to say a special good evening to you, sisters and brothers of the Northeast. But before I give a few brief remarks, allow me first to recognize our distinguished political leader, Dr. Mitchell. And one of the great stewards of the party, our deputy political leader, Brother Gregory Bowen. Brother Peter David, the representative of the town of St. George. And our stalwart soldier, Brother Nimrod Olivier. Sisters and brothers, I am very happy with where I am with this new national party. Though we are in opposition, I don't mind that, because I know very soon we'll be at the helm of government in this country. And before I start my remarks, let me just say that we are celebrating 40 years as a dynamic and strong foundational political organization in Grenada. Unique political organization. The political party that restored order and good governance to Grenada in 1984. So I want to encourage you, when you hear all the noise on social media, that toxic space, don't mind that. We have a lot to be proud of in a new national party. Allow me also to recognize our very dear sister, the MP for St. Mark, Sister Clarice Modest-Cohen. Ladies and gentlemen, I say that I'm happy because what I have grown up in a new national party, that experience of watching great leaders and leadership, they don't have that in NDC. And I had the occasion not too long ago to speak in tribute, my small, humble tribute to the life and contribution of our dearly departed former Governor General, Sir Danny Williams. And I spoke about Sir Danny being part of a generation of special Grenadians. And I mean every word that I said. And this is not to sugar anybody or to butter up our history and our past. But sisters and brothers, consider, please, consider the contribution, the sacrifice, and the life of service of our dear political leader, Dr. Mitchell. I want you to consider in similar fashion, the contribution of Brother Gregory Bowen to our country. And likewise, Sister Clarice Modest Cohen. Brother Peter David and all those sisters and brothers, not just at the front line of the New National Party, but those who have given all of their fiber and themselves to Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And it troubles me greatly when, after the last election, as my mother would say, some children got into office and they said nothing was done in Grenada since 1983. Can you imagine that? And I say that I'm happy because coming up in this party, to see before you great women and men of substance giving all of themselves to this nation and nation building. And they have brought Grenada to what Grenada is today. And that is why, sisters and brothers, the New National Party is the only party that can deliver progress to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Now, I understand that there is a cartoon character in this constituency, bouncing down people children and building bus stop in people place. Now, sisters and brothers, representation of the people of St. George Northeast is a serious thing. Nation building is a serious thing. And serious business call for serious people. And here in the New National Party, you will find every bit of seriousness and substance on this New National Party platform. That is why I am happy. And so, sisters and brothers, I know that we are experiencing very, very tough times. I mean, just yesterday, one of our sisters from St. David's was lamenting to me in Co-op Bank how difficult it is to even meet the mortgage. And one of my friends and former clients who's a contractor, building contractor, he said, Horse, all I doing now is trying to scrape up to pay bills and pay mortgage, you know. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. And you know what you are feeling. When Dr. Mitchell said we are experiencing, people know what they're feeling. A silly fella went on TV and tried to rebuff that and say, well, you know what you're feeling, and something about a dog and a bone. Up to now, I don't understand what he was saying. I got lost in that. It's well unfortunate. But the point is, sisters and brothers, that it is very difficult out there. Times are hard. The country hard. And the country is harder than when it was 2022. So we know that the country got harder since 2022. Not so? So what is the cause of that? NDC. And you know, I had occasion to mention that when we spoke last week in Monjalo. You know, every time that the National Democratic Congress, or whatever version of it, because this is a different version, eh? Every time the NDC or whatever version of it gets the opportunity by the people to govern, things get hard. Every single time. And every time in a constituency just like this one, as with Southeast St. George, NDC gets the seat and there's a representative of the NDC, they disappear. You can't see them. Nothing is happening. But you know what is the hope? And you know what is the beautiful thing about history when you think about history? Is that every single time they do that, the new national party is there to come back and rescue the country. Our history is far and long in service to our people and in development of this nation. We are known for giving you representatives that work. We have examples right here. I mentioned two of the principal stalwarts of this party that are men of action, the political leader and Brother Gregory Bowen. Nobody could doubt that. But in as much as these times are hard, we must not just sit and complain. We must get ready. We must get ready. And you see this thing called voters list? You must comb that list, go through it, name by name. Make sure you see your name. Make sure you see your children's name and your family name and your friend's name and your neighbor's name. And then examine the list for people that you don't know and you don't know that are living in the constituency. Because I will tell you what, sisters and brothers, they recognize, and it is not yesterday, they recognize quite early that they are losing support even among their own NDC people. Fast. You see the movie Fast and Furious? They're losing support fast and furious. And you hear talk about CBI and 1.2 billion and so on. Brother Nimrod mentioned that. But that's part of the strategy to use people who are now carrying Grenadian passports, to put them in certain key constituencies, register them, so that they will outnumber you if an election is called and they can win. Are we going to allow them to do that? No. Are we going to allow them to do that? No. So, sisters and brothers, it is important, therefore, to pay attention. You see this addendum thing that coming out? That is the additions to the list. That is new people. But you must also examine the general register of voters, or a current list if you have one. Go through it. Because all kind of funny names and things popping up in some constituencies. And this one is now. This one now is one of those constituencies. In fact, not too long ago, one of our sisters told me, she said, listen, I live in Vendom and you have some names that are coming up there. All right. There are some names that are coming up there with some people that just fly in because you have a fella that does make noise on Facebook and on social media that went up there and tell him, come and register. knowing full well that's breaking the law. But sisters and brothers, the New National Party is not a party to complain. This is a party of action. And so we want you to identify them, and we will take the necessary action. So in closing, I want to first of all, I should have done that earlier. I want to apologize for my arrival. I had a personal issue and I called Brother Nimrod. I told him I couldn't be early because of that personal issue. But certainly I was not missing this meeting in St. George Northeast. Sisters and brothers, we have a great party and a very rich legacy. And I am proud to be part of it, and I'm sure you too are feeling proud that you are in green and you're in the house of the New National Party. I feel warm with pride when I look at my leaders who have paved the way for a free and better Grenada. And it moves me at this point in time to be in action and service with them and with my brothers and sisters of the New National Party to help Grenada and to restore prosperity to this country. That is the reason why I am here. I am inspired by the gentlemen and women that you see before you, sisters and brothers. And so, as I close, I want to say to you, hold the fort. Hold the fort. I know it's difficult. Hold the fort, because the rescue train of the New National Party is coming stronger than ever. Thank you very much, sisters and brothers. May God bless you.
Nobody could stop us now. We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now. We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now. We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now. Dale.
Sing, sing, sing.
Dale.
Oh, it's starting to get hype. Thank you, Brother Hosford. What version of the NDC we have right now? 3.0 or NDC 5000? Before I introduce our next speaker, I just want to say a few things. Because we have seen, over 2 years now, we've watched and looked upon as the NDC has stumbled through leadership without a plan. We've seen promises remain just that, just promises. Where are the jobs for the young people, the safety nets for the elderly, the support for our farmers? Instead, we are seeing funding wasted, opportunities missed, and priorities set that don't serve the everyday Grenadian. And we ask ourselves, or I ask myself, who is really benefiting from this mismanagement? Look around at our healthcare system, which should be a priority for any government. But under the NDC, we see a system straining under a lack of resources and leadership, with long lines and delayed services and facilities that lack basic supplies. And who suffers the most? We, the hard-working people who depend on these services. Our infrastructure is a whole next story of neglect. Roads left in disrepair, vital projects abandoned, and communities without access to reliable public utilities. But this goes deeper than roads and buildings. It is about respect for the people who live in those communities. It is about valuing their lives, their safety, and their dignity. But I tell you, the NNP has always believed in a government that works for the people, not for special interests or headlines. We believe in policies that builds the economy, lifts our youths, and secure a future for each and every one of us. This is why, when we look at the challenges facing Grenada today, We are motivated and not discouraged because we know that the NNP has the courage and experience and dedication to turn things around. And I tell you, Grenada deserves better. Our children in our schools deserve better. Our teachers deserve better. Our farmers deserve better. Our elders who built this country with their own hands deserve better. You and I deserve better. And if you believe that we deserve better, I want you to say house. House. And if you believe in the new national party, say house. And if you believe that we will rescue Grenada, say house. Because the house will forever be solid and our pillars will forever be strong. NNPites! 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 Let them know that we bleed green. Our next speaker. He is Grenada's no-nonsense powerhouse. If there is a tough call to make, he's the man for the job. He is focused and his pragmatic approach, and he doesn't waste words or time. And don't expect him to slow down. Brothers and sisters, welcome, welcome our deputy political leader, Brother Gregory Bowen.
Solid and the pillar strong. Don't stop the progress. We moving on. The house solid and the pillar strong. Don't stop the progress. Take a look around.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. And let's give her a round of applause. A vibrant powerhouse, the young people of the new National Party. Let me recognize the head table, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, our political leader, the Honorable Peter David. We want to recognize Senator the Honorable Dwight Horsford, and the political lead for this constituency, your very own, my brother. Let us recognize him, Nimrod Oliver. We recognize Dr. the Honorable Clarice Modest. She has taken the time out to be with us. And that is the unity of the new National Party. We support each other. Brothers and sisters, I want to recognize you. Recognize you for being here. Whether or not you are au fait with the situations that are facing us, you are here to show that the new National Party is well on the way to rescue our Grenada Carriacou and P.T. Martin. And let us take time out to recognize the listening public in the diaspora. Let us recognize them because they are quickly learning. They are learning and following what we say to do what is right. We have seen them abandoning the position they held before because many of them came to Grenada. They were invited. They say, come, Carnival 22, exactly. Come, Carnival 23. Come to the 50th anniversary and come to Carnival 24. They gave them the one-way passage to come down. But you must register. And once you register, you'll get the passage to go back. So listen carefully to our brother, Dwight Horsford. He has been following the saga. And what he brings to our attention, we must pay careful attention. And all the other speakers before us, they tell us that we must organize. An organization will help us to comb the list. And it will help us to help Brother Dwight in the leadership position for this particular section of the new National Party. Because without it, my brothers and sisters, we could do as much as we want. We will be overwhelmed by the outsiders. And we're talking about people who can't even speak the language. But they now have the right to vote. Yes? So be very careful, my brothers and sisters. I want to also remind us of our 40th anniversary celebrations. I wouldn't say much on it except to say that from the information that I'm giving to you now, you will recognize that without the sacrifice and performance of certain people in the new National Party, we will not be having a 40th celebration. Brothers and sisters, I want to zero in on the oil and gas situation in our country. I will start with a brief history. We listened to Guyana's. Trinidad was 100 years ago, so too was Venezuela. But let us look at Grenada. Yes? In the 1970s, under Sir Eric Matthew-Gary, seismic surveys were undertaken by the British Commonwealth Division. And seismic survey is where a ship will travel through the sea with a lot of lines. Sometimes they tell you the number of lines. Sending sonar signal down to the bottom of the ocean and collecting the reflection from which we can construct the geology of the bottom of the earth. Is there a different set of strata? Is there soft soil and hard soil? Are there bubbles in between? All of these you will make a decision on when this comes back up to the youth. So that was done in the 1970s. It was done during the PRG times when the Russian came down and sent the ship to Sodu. It was also done, my brothers and sisters, post-revolutionary. The Americans did surveys. And you also have ships, private ships, that will do these surveys and sell the data to the country and to the oil companies who are interested in it. So we did that, brothers and sisters, from 1970s up to the present time. Now, the oil companies will purchase these reports and they will look at it and see whether or not they will come to our country, whichever country it is, and invest in test wells and further drilling. Well, Grenada, the reports were not beautiful. So while we tackle the majors, and the majors are the big oil companies, the Shell, the Texaco, the Amoco, and etc., they bought these reports, and they were showing no interest. Therefore, when Grindberg came on the scene in the region, and don't think Grindberg came only to Grenada. He came to Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Dominica, and tied up all the waters of these countries. Whether a big investor, a small investor, if you're going to put some monies there, when people are not coming, or the major ones are not looking at you, oh, Trinidad and Tobago, they have a magnitude. Venezuela, yes? You go down, Suriname, even Guyana, and now we see what Guyana has done. That's where they were putting the focus. So, Grindberg came on the scene, and he was granted an exploration license agreement. That is agreement to be granted a license if you did certain things. Brothers and sisters, he did nothing. And when we were there, don't forget, that was in 1996. Guyana started just a few years before us, and they were moving. moving. So you in the oil and gas sector, you're following what is going on in the region. There you have a person sitting there doing nothing to Grenada, nothing with St. Vincent, and he has the waters, nothing to St. Lucia, and nothing to Dominica. And there you have big things moving, swiftly moving in your CARICOM neighbor. So we spoke with him and told him that he must get on with it or get out. So brothers and sisters, at that point, he saw that we were serious. In Grenada, we had a British citizen who was the Solicitor General. And he looked at the agreement, and everyone in the oil and gas sector said, Grenada, you'll be left behind if you do nothing. So we took the bold decision to ask him to perform within the time frame in the agreement or get out. Brothers and sisters, he responded, I have a license to do such and such, and therefore I will want to commence certain actions within a certain time. I responded to him, and I will tell you why I mentioned this. I responded to him that you do not have a license. You have an agreement to be granted a license. And this response, brothers and sisters, was fundamental in our coming out victorious at the International Center for the Settlement of Investment Dispute. This is the organization that deals with foreign individuals, foreign companies investing in a country. You do not go to any court. This individual took the government of Grenada to court for his own non-performance. And in his claim, he indicated that Gregory Bowen asked him for a bribe. Yes? And because he did not give the bribe, I terminated the agreement. So, we went to the court. The International Center for the Settlement of Investment Dispute, a massive institution under the guidance of the World Bank. So, brothers and sisters, the Lord worked mysterious ways. In the center, you have three tribunal membership, referred to as the tribunal. And when we got into the center, we were introducing ourselves to each other. So the members of the tribunal, the president and the two other members, introduced themselves to the both parties, Grindberg, his lawyers, the government of Grenada, represented by me, and our lawyers, Freshfield. So up come this gentleman. He was the last. I met all his lawyers and so forth. And there was I with a bright smile on my face, because if you're going to court, not because you're an adversary to the other party, you sit and you listen and you make your points, but you will shake the person's hand. So I shook everybody's hand and a smile on my face, waiting to be introduced to this other gentleman. And then my lawyer said, this is Jack Grindberg. I have never met the man before. The body recoiled. You understand? It was spontaneous. The look on my face changed. The outstretched hand withdrew. And I stood rapid and stand. And this is the man who said I asked him for a bribe. But remember, the president of the tribunal was sitting there in the chair. And we were like where you are on the lower level. And they were looking at me. I did not realize how fundamental my reaction was in Grenada winning this case. Because it was Jack Grindberg's words against mine that I asked him for a bribe. But when the president saw my reaction, and he saw that it was spontaneous, I was smiling, trying to meet the man, to shake his hand. During the hearing, the tribunal asked me, because that was in Jack Grindberg's deposition, that was in his witness statement, that I asked him for a bribe. Yeah? He came into the country one night and so forth. Nobody was at the airport because the airport did not have anything, records of his coming in. But again, it was his words against mine. In the middle of the hearing, the president of the tribunal asked me, did you ask Mr. Jack Grindberg for a bribe? No, sir. Did he offer you a bribe? No, sir. You wonder where this was going. And then he told his other two members and both lawyers that nothing will be entertained in this center, in this court, about anything with respect to bribe. He said, we will try the matter on its merit, whether or not you are wrongfully terminated. So from then, we started direction. Jack Grindberg started to run straight with his lawyers, cost them in the back. I said, well, that's his person. Yeah? And brothers and sisters, that was the beginning and the end of Jack Grindberg. The only person who defeated him in the court was Gregory Bowen. Only person. There were some major oil companies that decided to pay him off. I want to say pay him off $20 and $30 million, you know. And when I asked them why, they say, listen, in this oil and gas sector, we will pay $20 and $30 million rather than delaying our project, yes, of which we lose hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So that gave him the impetus. That gave him the will to go ahead and to try anything. At the point in time, we did not know whether Grenada had oil and gas. But he had decided that it will end up in a court battle and he will take us to court. We don't have money to pay him. So he didn't make it 20 and 30 million. He made it $500 million. Yes? 500 million US dollars was what we should pay him because we wrongfully terminated him. Brothers and sisters, I must give credit to our lawyers Freshfield because they involved me since here in Grenada and at the hearing in all the discussions and the decision-making process. I know Hugh Wildman taught me and Brother Dwight taught me, but I never knew that I was such a professional lawyer to sit with these big people and to participate in the decision. Because they asked me, what would I do here? And when I told them, I saw they put it down in the notes. I said, what, you go and tell the tribunal that? What, a little me? They say, yes, little you. On the correct path and on the correct track. Brothers and sisters, at the end of the hearing, the tribunal told me, if I did not respond and respond in a certain way to Grindberg's letter, yeah, then I would have lost the case. And Grenada would have to pay 500 million US dollars, 1.35 billion EC dollars. That is what was facing us. So let us look at the period 2008 to 2013. Brothers and sisters, when the rulings came out, Jack Grindberg appealed. And he was prompted to do so by the NDC government. So while he took 3 or 4 of us to court, because he said Shell and the others and so forth, they were the one who wanted to come in and take over his rights. So he took all of us to court. Yeah? Step by step, he dropped the cases against these people at the behest of the National Democratic Congress administration. And the government of Grenada and Gregory Bowen, I remember he joined in everything. If you would have joined me, knee to my head, he'd have done that in addition to Gregory Bowen and the government of Grenada. So, brothers and sisters, he appealed, because there are provisions for appeal in ICSID. A new team was constituted, a new tribunal, and they gave the exact decision of the tribunal of first instance. Yes? What he also did, at the behest of the NDC administration, was to take the matter up to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And let me tell you, this one is more dangerous than ICSID. Because if you owe an American citizen, as he was, an American company, the United States of America will put sanctions against you if you cannot pay. Where will little Grenada be getting $1.35 billion to pay? And Greidbach told both the court and ICSID that he wanted his money now. So you had to go to borrow. Who will lend you money to pay off or something like that? Nobody. But what NDC saw at the time was, if Grenada loses this case, NNP was an institution of history. We were out. Because all the people will be told it's NNP that put you in that. Year after year, 20 years, 30 years down the line, it's NNP that put you in that. Yes? We were out. Yes? They did not care that Grenada would have been crippled. They wanted to supervise over a country, a failed country, because nobody would give you anything. Brothers and sisters, in 2008, this started before. The NNP government was paying the court. We got a reputable law firm, and we paid over $350,000 so far in defending Grenada. When the NDC came into office, they chopped it. Yeah? Nothing. See, move out. Let Gregory Bowen and them pay for the case for themselves. But the judge looked at the case and he said, this is a case against the country Gregory Bowen is just joined. As a matter of fact, where will Gregory Bowen get $500 million? It is obvious that they're looking at the country to pay that. So when the lawyer says he has not been paid for some months, that he wants to drop the case, do you know what the judge told him? The judge said, no, you cannot drop a case like that. American judge, American lawyer. He said, I want to hear from the government of Grenada. That time Dwight Hosford was around. I retained him locally as a person of what can we do. He wanted to hear from the government of Grenada that they will not pay him. And so we approached you. It was the Attorney General at that point in time, and asked him for the documentation for written proof. We got that, and we sent it to the judge. The judge looked at it, and he told the lawyer, only now you will be released for non-payment. He said, but that automatically leaves a default judgment against the government of Grenada and Gregory Bowen. But you forget about Gregory Bowen, I can't pay. Where pay that? It's the government of Grenada. And what Grindbug knew is that if the government did not pay, there is no country powerful enough to stand up and face the sanction. That is, you had nothing coming to Grenada, nothing doing that, pay. What you going to do, sell Grenada? I think nobody would want to buy Grenada at that point in time. So there you have it. I know exactly what they were doing. Because Boca and other members of the NDC were boasting. That is the end of it. That is the end of it for the new National Party. So I went out there. I called some friends. Some people helped me with small sums of monies. I borrowed to put on top what I had. Because in those days, we were not getting $24,000 a month before. No, we were not. We did not have a lot of money. And the little that we got, we spent it on the people in the constituency, the needy people in the constituency. So there you have Gregory Bowen alone, a few friends, and I remember Hugh Wildman, Hugh Wildman in Jamaica, the Jamaican dollar down to nothing. He sent $2,000 to me. $2,000 to me. And I took the money, got a lawyer. Yes, Archibald, that's who I told you. And he came down to Grenada, met with myself and Dwight. And we put the case together for him to go before the federal court in the US. We made significant progress. But all the while, they were plotting. Documents used to leave Grenada and reach up to Grindbug's lawyer. Yes? Against your own country. Notwithstanding that, we persevered because our statement was true and what we were speaking were facts. We were defending our little rock Grenada. Then they escalated it into the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of Grenada, of the US, the 9-member, the 6 to 9, they escalated up to there. And they escalated through a mechanism where they put any minister of government who did certain things, particularly ask or gave bribes. Right? So they want the Supreme Court to make a judgment on that. Brothers and sisters, we tell you, Brother Archibald wasn't a big name. But when you are right in the sight of God, nothing could stop you. We persevered in front of the mighty Supreme Court of the United States of America. So NDC lost. Not only Grindbug, NDC lost. And today the new National Party can celebrate 40 years. Without the action of Gregory Bowen and the few stood up. Those, I said, if you give me something, I can't give you back because I have to borrow. And they say, you just say, who gave a 5, who gave a 6 or something. Say, yeah, don't Those you say, no, well, I can't give you that, can't have people to pay. And they all said, yes, we know you have things to pay. So brothers and sisters, coming from that, when we went back into office, in 2013, the new National Party picked up from where he left off. So all of those who gave us donation, as you know, one who did, and Wildman and others, we say nothing, I'm not even asked telling the government that you gave that, So everybody stayed back and said, let's put forward those monies that you had to pay back and those monies that you took out of your own part. Not all of it, but some of it. So we worked it out. We got the invoices from the people. And the new National Party administration gave me immediately there and then 35,000 EC dollars as a part payment. Listen, and they gave me a letter, say that within 6 months, we will give you the balance of 67,000 US dollars. And these two sums added together was not, as you know, we paid $350,000 for one lawyer, not going through all these parts, but Archibald gave us the lowest price possible. And I paid some, and I did not ask for all. I remember some of the boys in library saying, well, leave that for us, no, Chief. I say, yes, but I have people to pay. So I paid back that money. And up to today, the $67,000 has not been paid to me. You would say that we were in office from 2014 to 2022. I held the position of Minister for Finance part of those times. The other person was Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. And I want us to reflect as this. If you are the Minister of Finance, and if you stoop so low, as while you are the Minister for Finance, asking the government, although it's legitimately owed to you, after Cabinet made a decision, so that the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance must pay you that. And after receiving a letter, then all I have to do, following the letter and spirit of the Integrity in Public Life Act, is wait on the public servant to pay. Not use the influence, because the government owed other people too, Maybe not as much. These other people cannot come. They don't sit in cabinet, so they cannot come and say, pay me, because some of them receive letters as well. And they were paid later and after the fact and so forth. So why should I, as Minister for Finance or Minister for Infrastructure, use my influence, even though I have a letter, and 1,000 other Grenadians cannot do that? Yes? I could tell the permanent secretary, write it up and pass it, and you have a cabinet conclusion. But I never did that. If he saw it fit to discuss, because many of the years Dr. Mitchell was a finance minister, if he saw it fit as the permanent secretary to go to the sitting minister of finance, unknowing to me, and say, this thing has been lagging for quite a while, let us pay. All they have to do, all I'll see is a check coming to me. But I recognize, brothers and sisters, that I should not behave in that manner. So today, or yesterday, I made it abundantly clear that the monies are due to me and that it should be paid. In the meantime, that sum of money was used to pay other Grenadians who did not have the clout that I have as a minister. So who get a little 15,000 owed, who get a little 20,000 owed, pay them off. But I will not go against the moral and spirit of the Integrity in Public Life Commission and demand that I be paid. No, I'm no longer in the forefront. No, it is time for the NDC administration to pay Gregory Bowen. And to pay for saving this country 1.35 billion EC dollars. And to ensure that we remain on foot. They pay. Exactly. Pay that yet. I still have some people that I owe, And these people never come and ask me, did you get the money? Did you not get the money? Because they know as soon as I get that money, they will be paid. They will be paid. So, brothers and sisters, after that, the case came and everything went out. Then we had the opportunity to move to a new investor. And all the while, we were talking with the big players. They came and they sat with Dr. Mitchell and myself, and the big players will ask so on, so on, so on. They know everything that has happened out there. They pay for satellite to beam all through your country, and they realized that the resources was not as great as Guyana. Yeah? And so they ended up in Guyana. So GPG came on the scene. Other people came, you know. When you ask them, what would they give you? How will they share in the resources? We know we had not much, but peanuts. They want to give you less than peanuts if they come, so that they could make their abundance. And the country had nothing. GPG came, and we looked at what they had to offer. We made an arrangement with them. While you could not pull a magnitude, we told them, okay, make back your money up front. But when you may reach halfway in making back your money, we have to share a greater part of the wealth. And they agreed. So while they had a 20-year term, so in the first 7 years, their ratio might be 70, we might be 30. But boy, in the first 7, after 7 years, oh boy, it started to shift, 60-40. And the next year, it started to shift, 50-50. And it started to shift, and the government ahead, 55-45. No other country in the region got Soti Solidim, but we had to sacrifice in the beginning. And we said, every 5 years, despite the split that we were going to go ahead, we will still review and see if we should not get more than the addition that we would get. So we sat down there with him. And that is how GPG came on the scene, brothers and sisters. And so they were there. They were frustrated by the NDC. As a matter of fact, NDC said all you have to do is frustrate them for the 5 years that they'll be in office, and then the agreement will be terminated. Well, how they're so stupid. I cannot think about any other person in Grenada who went before 2 ICSID tribunals. I cannot think about every. I'm talking about big-time lawyers and everything here. I cannot think about him. And when I listened to how the tribunal thinks, I see that. As a matter of fact, there is a natural bias against little countries. Yes? We are the banana republic, and that's the big, beautiful investor from a developed country, and we want to chisel him. NDC never saw it, that you frustrate an investor, and you would have to give him back all the time, plus time with damage. Yes? But the elections came in 2013, and we knew what would happen if they took us to court. We sat down and we refined the agreement. So GPG now went on from an exploration license of 11 blocks to a development license of 4 blocks. That is, they did 3D and further studies to pinpoint the areas in the 11 blocks that was best, that will give them the best prospect for success. And remember, brothers and sisters, they had to give up, they had a certain time to give up the 11 blocks. If you hold it for a certain period and you did not move to the development and production stage, you have to give it up. But we knew that they were frustrated, so we gave them back the time. Brothers and sisters, after that, they went into the development stage. You recall the big ship, some of you, who came on our port, the massive ship, and they drilled down into the seabed. This is not sonar radiation coming back up, This is big pipes going down and taking samples of what is there and sending it to major institutions to be organized. So our finding was, after sending it to one institution and sending it to DeGoyle and McNaughton, another famous institution, that there was 9 trillion cubic feet of gas potential. Remember, this is not form up. When you have a potential, you have to see what part of this is actually recovered. Yes? And 200 million tons of oil. That's the first analysis. Now they have to go back again. And I hear what NDC say, that Keith Mitchell lie. He had no gas there. But they have this report. Maybe that is why we'll come to the missing document saga. Yes, they have that report. So with that, in brothers, and they indicated, out of the 9 trillion potential, the report indicated that only 1.2 trillion very commercial. You understand how this thing works? Yes. And if we develop the 1.3 trillion cubic feet, then we will get $1.36 billion over the time frame. All the analyses are there. They indicated too that the analysis is a probability, and they do that for every well. Well that will give millions and trillions of dollars, they did that. So brothers and sisters, that's where we were when COVID came and the developments start. When we made the announcement, they sent off all the book and say they lie. Because from 2018, 2019 COVID, 2021 COVID, you can't move around as you want. 2022 elections. 2022 elections came, and the first thing we hear is that all the documents are missing, gone missing. Yes. So I either burn it, or hide it, or I move it away. Brothers and sisters, that's the devious nature of this person. So, somebody, I think is some influential person, and I don't think it's a Grenadian. It must have been somebody with a lot of influence. Spoke to the Prime Minister, Honorable Dick Mitchell. But as a result of that, he called me. He called me down and said, I want you to visit with me to discuss oil and gas. So I went to his office. And I said, well, I see that you really now need some of my expertise, which is good, to move forward with the oil and gas production. And he told me, no, that's not why he called me. So I said, why? He called me to help him find the documents. What is it? Remember, he made the Governor General read the throne speech, saying that documents were missing. So I told him then, you made the government read the throne speech. You or your Minister for Energy could have done so. But because you know the Governor General cannot be questioned, and all of us know it is not her speech. It is the speech of the cabinet, the government of the day, that she reads. And I said that the significant damage that you have done to me and my family. I say right now, institutions who I know who are about to call me, whether or not I'm in government, but they call me for a 2-year contract to do certain things for them. As I worked a lot with the IMF and the World Bank and the European Union. Yes. Particularly in the oil and gas sector, but also in the financial sector. These institutions have not, and they will not call. Why would you call a person, a minister, who instead of ensuring that the documents are there, will take it and hide it and burn it? You don't want any such person in any institution, reputable institution as the IMF and the World Bank and the European Union. Yes? No, you don't want that. So up to today, I have not received any correspondence from this institution. But when I met him too, I said you caused significant damage not only to me, but to my family. Just as when it was with Grindbug. Yes, he asked for a bribe. Bribe. My family couldn't go anywhere. Bribe. Your father take a bribe. But, yeah? All these things. Brothers and sisters, so too, people were meeting my family members and say, he hide the thing, burn it, throw it, hide business here, look at that, your father do this, she do that, the other. All of that we had to go through. So I told him, I will help you find the document. Have you looked here, there? No. I said that the people sent the entire set of documents to you. Have you located it? You see, well, you have not seen it. I said, but they showed me the address it was sent to. It came to you. And we learned last night that GPG lawyers offered them in July, after the June election, all the documents. They refused it. Your humble servant spoke to the people, GPG. And I told him I will get the 4 major pieces of documents on which you could make your decision. I will get that to you. I got those documents and I sent them to him. Yeah? In the meanwhile, I'm not talking to anybody. You have a conversation with the Prime Minister of Grenada. And so I worked on that merit. Yes, confidentiality. When he did not get back to me, I called. He did not get back to me. So I called Miss Leslie, can't recall her first name. And I told her because she used to contact me on his behalf. And I told her what I did, and I was trying to make contact with him. She promised she'll get him to call me. He did call me. Took his time, so I had given up on it. I said, well, all these things I sent you, and all the things that you said to me, that it was not your intention to do this sort of damage to me and my family. And if that is how it worked out, he's sorry and he apologizes. I told him there and then, your apology must be to the nation, not squarely to me. So I expect you to come out and apologize to me so that just as how it was read to the nation, everybody will hear. I told him that when we met. Yes? And he said, well, I had to do that because GPG was pressing on me and I didn't know what to do and I had to think that so I had to make some statement. I see it now that is not the case. It was willful and malicious. So brothers and sisters, when he called me, I said, I spoke. He gave me permission. I say, I need your permission to speak to the secretaries and workers in the ministry. And I must be able to tell them that I have your blessing to do the things that I'm asking them to do, to find the documents. I spoke to my former secretaries, one who was in infrastructure and followed me across to finance. Because she's the one who will be going to get the documents for me, It will be in a cabinet. Which one of the cabinet, I need not know. I may just know that it's in a cabinet in this room. So when I told her that she can tell all the workers, and the workers themselves can call the Prime Minister to verify that what I say is true. She didn't get back to me. I did not call her. No, it is not my duty to call her, and it's not her duty to get back to me. So we waited for a while. And after the Prime Minister called me, I said, but why did you not respond to me? I sent everything to you. Did you find the documents that the licensee GPG sent you? Yeah, well, you can't recall that. Did you find what I sent to you? No, he doesn't think so. But I have found the documents. He told me that he had found the documents. So I said, where did you find it? In a cabinet in the ministry. He found it there under lock and key. And he said the only problem that he did not have a key to open it. I said, did you not ask the secretary for the key? He said, no, well, he didn't waste time to do that. He broke open the panel. Well, it's a government owned, and he's the Minister of National Security. I tell him, I say, well, no problem with that. If you broke open the thing, you could either get a new panel. And besides, they don't like to use anything that the former NNP used to use. Huh? They don't like that. So he said, break open that and throw it. But the point is, he got the documents. And for months now, I've been waiting on him to come out and advise the nation, not only the nation, but the institutions around the world, that they had found the document and that I had participated. I came out and showed them how to find the documents. So Gregory Bowen didn't thief any document. He didn't burn any document. He didn't move with any document. As a matter of fact, just as we are obliged to do, we had all the documents secured where it should be. Brothers and sisters, somebody called me and he said, I heard you saying that you did not want to embarrass the Prime Minister or belittle him by going out to the nation and to the world to say that you helped them find the documents, that they found the documents and they have not done one thing. He said, they belittle you and your family. Put all gentlemen together and belittle them too. But brothers and sisters, I did not do that until it was absolutely necessary. How come you can go to Nigeria? Yes? I don't want to use the term wine and dine, but at the behest of a gentleman. Yes? And while you're in Nigeria, GPG signs an arrangement with a Nigerian company. Right? You may say it's another company, but the same man come out and say that he will be buying oil and gas from Grenada. So company A, company B, same thing. But you Nigeria at that point in time, you come back to Grenada. You said nothing about it. And then when the ball busts, yeah. And I mentioned before the Integrity in Public Life Act. That act says in it, and it is written, you must not be involved in corruption. It further goes on to say, you must not be involved in anything that is perceived to be corruption. So whether or not there is corruption is irrelevant. So he should do what is necessary to clear Grenada's name, if he doesn't want to clear his name, and to have a thorough investigation into this saga. Yes? You must do that. The Integrity in Public Life Commission, they have a responsibility. Yes? And we as Grenadians must call upon them to do their work. We must call upon them to do their work. Because this is not the only incident. We have a lot of other incidents where laws are broken and where people in public life, ministers, are doing things that are against the law. As I indicated, I propelled that law. That is why I'm so familiar with it. That is why I live to the spirit of that law. That is why I live to the spirit of that law. You cannot enrich yourself. You cannot take advantage of a situation at the expense of other people. So brothers and sisters, we have to do what we have to do. I am saying that you do everything that all the speakers before me have told you. ensure that you do what is right. Ensure that you comb the list. And one thing we did not do, we did not speak to our neighbors. We did not speak to our children. Let us start to do that now, brothers and sisters. And let us make sure that the new National Party is back there to rescue Grenada, Carriacou, and the PT Martinique.
Ain't nobody could stop us now. We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now.
Thank you, Brother Bowen. We're pressed for time, so I'll be very brief. This next speaker, I call him the Energizer Bunny of leadership, and he has always been the right man for the job. Welcome, welcome, our political leader.
Somebody, yes we know. You need me and I need you.
Listen. Well, yes. I felt I was in school again tonight. So, how could I, after what we heard tonight, keep you any much longer? I am filled. My cup is overflowing tonight. Really overflowing. So I am going to be very short, because when you listen to all the speakers tonight, it tells you one thing, that the NNP is the only party that can continue to build this beautiful country of ours. Sisters and brothers, you listen to all the speakers. And when you look at what you heard tonight, and you listen to what Brother Dwight said, the children in government, you realize, you ask yourself, how did we make that decision in June 2022? How we did that to ourselves. Every time I say this, people around me say, Doc, I didn't do it. I say, it was we. Because it's our government. They didn't take a gun and put it in our head and become government. So we have to take responsibility as a nation. Individual persons may not have done it. But it tells you something, sisters and brothers. So I want to say it tonight, as I told you, I wouldn't say much. We will continue to do what we have to do to rescue this country. I have no doubt, when you listen particularly to Greg, knowing what he went through, that he's lucky to be standing here tonight. He is lucky, and I am lucky too to be standing here tonight. I am lucky too, because they wanted Gregory to get to me. That's a fact. So we have to understand what took place. When you have a party who is prepared to let their own country to have a debt of $1.35 billion just to make a political point, it tells you something of the desperate characters that was part of the National Democratic Congress then. But sisters and brothers, no, well, let me tell you this. This NDC is far worse than the one then. That's a fact. So it tells you we are in a lot of trouble. But let me say this, finally. I'm confident that the future of this country is very bright with the NNP, ready to rescue this country. Gregory has spent over 30 odd years in the politics of this country. I've spent over 40 years, and others have spent a lot of years in the politics of this country. So as NNP moves forward, we will have changes. We will have changes in the NNP. But you know, sisters and brothers, whatever changes come, the experienced head of the new National Party will be there to work with all the changes to continue to build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry at all. Listen to the young sister there. You see that young sister there? NNP building the future leaders of this country, sisters and brothers. So you don't have to worry, sisters and brothers. We will be there. We will be there with this team and other team members to rescue this beautiful country of ours. Good night. You have had enough food tonight. Thank you and take care.
The house solid and the pillars strong. Don't stop the progress. We moving on. The house solid and the pillars.
I now invite Ms. Jessica Phillip to do the vote of thanks, followed by Mr. Terek Frank to do the closing prayer.
All right, good night. As we conclude this vibrant gathering here tonight in St. George Northeast, I would like to say a special thank you to all of our speakers, the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, our parliamentary deputy leader, Gregory Boyne, Mr. Dwight Horsford, Honorable Peter David, and our parliamentary lead at the moment, Mr. Nimrod Oliver. I'd like to say thank you to every one of you for taking the time out. Yes, we did go a little long, but thank you. Continue the motivation, continue the inspiration, and let's take this country forward.
Let us all stand as we close off in prayer. Almighty and eternal God, we thank you for this gathering here today. We pray that you give us traveling mercies as we go home. Continue to watch over the new National Party. Continue to be with us. And may we continue to do what we can to rescue Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, sister.
Yes. Are you ready? Move it. Yes, we move it. Move it. NNP, we move it. Move it. Yes, we move it. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Old people did say back long time ago, if something can break, don't fix it, leave it so. And up to this day, this I still maintain. This is why I say Nazim never again. Everybody know about 6 years ago where this country were, we can't go back there no more. Not saying we reach, but we on that path. So let's keep moving with NNP. There is no turning back. Let the truth be told, one just can't ignore. Let's keep moving. Must admit we better off than before. Let's keep moving. We're on the right path, so no turning back. Let's keep moving. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Give me the duck now. One, one, one. Moving. Yes, we moving. Moving. Yes, we moving. Moving. Yes, we moving. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Public servant salary, that was on a hold. For them to get a dime, an asset must be sold. And even when they do, it always coming late. Why don't all you admit all you couldn't operate? Investors' confidence.